Hey guys, here we go again. We're on the FIFA core data project. Hope you're all caught up. Last time we added the deleting teams from core data. So today we're going to look at the other button here, which is the edit teams in core data. So there's a bit of code to get through. So I'm going to show you how to do this right now. Okay, so we're inside where we need to be is the can edit rows function. So we just need to activate this button, and what we want to do is be able to click on the edit button, and that will take us over to a different view controller, which is the create teams controller, so we can actually edit the team information. So what I have noticed is this function is getting a little bit big, so what we're going to do, we're going to create our own separate file private function which is going to handle this functionality for us. So if we just create a function called edit handler function, seems like a descriptive name, and then we just want to create an action, so a UI table view row action, and then we need an index path, so just index path, and in here we can just put like a print test statement, just so we know we're actually using this function. And this is just a way of just managing our code and just keeping it nice and clean. So then what we can do, we can recreate above, we can recreate this let edit action function here. So let's just wipe that out, and we'll just recreate it. So let edit action equals UI table view row action. And then, so the same thing as before, so it's going to be a normal style, it's going to say edit, but in here, this is where we actually pass in our function we've just created. So it's just a way of limiting down the function above, and we can just put all our functionality in this handler function below, because there's going to be a few lines to it, so we didn't want to just stuff it all in the table view function. So as you can see, it works exactly the same. Click on edit and it works the same. So what we're going to need to do is just first create a reference to the create team controller, because we're going to want to be able to click on the edit button, which is going to take us over to the row that we're actually editing. So we're going to need to come over to create teams controller. So we've done this before in previous videos. So what we're going to do, we're just going to say let edit controller, or edit team controller is actually a better name, and then that's going to be equal to the create teams controller, because that's where we're going. And then we're going to need to say something like edit team controller dot team is equal to our core data teams at the specified index path dot row. Now we don't have this team as yet over in create team controller. We don't have access to that because we haven't created it. So let's go and do that now. So this is just gonna use a did set, basically, which is just going to observe the name text field. So it's going to listen for changes for us. So anytime that it changes, the other view controller will know about it. So we just say var teams, type teams optional, and then did set. And then in here, it's just, as I say, we're just going to be listening for the name text field dot text. So we just say name text field dot text is equal to team dot name. Nice and simple. So then if we go back over to Teams controller and just do a quick build, that should now come to life. So we've now got access to that. So the team over in create teams controller is the same as the core data index path dot row team. So those teams match up. So then we just need to say edit team controller dot delegate equals self. We need to get control in this class. So then we can just say let nav controller equals custom nav controller. We've done this before, So we're just going to be wrapping the edit team controller inside the navbar, navigation controller. So it's just going to be a root view controller, which is going to be the edit team controller. Again, we've done this before. And then we just need to present it. So again, my autocomplete isn't playing ball. I hope you're having a little bit better luck than I am. So in here, I've just had to type this out. So it's nav controller, animated true, and then a completion block of nil. So we should now be able to build that. Let's just see. So yeah, we've just created this edit row action. We've created our own function, which is handling all the functionality. We've added edit action into the return array. So this should build. So once we click edit, and it takes us over, and it does pick up the team name, which is great. So if we choose the top one, it'll say Man United, which is great. The only issue we have is the title isn't changing, so we need that to say edit team. So when we're editing a team, we need to distinguish between an edit team and a create team title. So we can do this by adding just a little bit of code into view will appear. So what we're going to do, we're going to use it's called the ternary conditional operator. It's basically like a condensed if statement, and it does it all in one line. So we're going to do this inside view will appear. We don't want to just put this straight into view did load. So we just say super.view will appear, and then you need to put true in there as well. And this is where we're going to do our check for the title. So we just say navigation item.title, which is a team. And that's going to be, if that's equal to nil, then we use a ternary operator, and then we just say create team. And other than that, it's going to be edit team. So the way this works, it's going to check if there is a team name in there. If it's nil, that means that we're using the create team title. If there's a team in there populated, it's going to use the edit team. So it's basically like an inline if check, and it's called the ternary operator. So if we check that now, that should work. So we can just click edit, and that should say edit team, which it does, and obviously we're editing the team, which is fine. And if we click on add team, it says create team, so that's great. So that's one thing sorted. The next problem we have is that we need to distinguish if we are saving changes or we're actually saving a new team. So to get around this, we need two different saves using one context. So first off, inside handle save, we need to say if the team is nil, then create a new save. Otherwise, we'll use a function which we'll create now called save team changes. So let's create that below. So file private save team changes, and then we'll create another one called file private func create team, and then we'll just create a couple of print statements inside these functions just so we can test the functionality. So using create team, and then this other one will be if we are actually saving team changes. So it's basically two different functions, and we're going to use both of them inside handle save. So let's take out what we have there already. That's basically what we had before. That's when we were creating a team. So we'll use that as our create team save. So nothing has changed there. We've just moved the code down into a create team save function. That's all we've done. So then up in handle save, we just need to check which one we're using. So before we do that, let's just add some logic. So we need to say if team is equal to nil, then we'll use the create team function. But if there's a team name in there, then we know that we're going to be using the save team changes function. There's basically two different ways of saving. So there's a create team and there's an edit team. And let's run this. We can click on add. and Liverpool. I click save and it's not working. Okay. Yeah, basically this code needs to be inside handle save. I actually had that inside save team changes, which was wrong. So I've just moved that in. If we try that again, Liverpool, save, yeah, there it is. Using create team save, and then if we click edit and just type something and click save, then we're using save team changes. So yeah, that was my mistake. So just move the code out of save team changes into handle save. That's where this if team equal nil create team else save team changes needs to be. So let's move on. Let's create this save team changes function. So we just create a context. Core data service.shared persistent container. We've done this before. So now we just need to say team.name is equal to the name text field.text. We want them to be the same. So whatever we're passing over from the Teams controller needs to be what is in the name text field.text. Then we just have to do what we've done before, the do catch let. So because it can throw. So there's a catch let error, and then just print unable to edit team save, and then just pass in the error, and then we're just doing a try context.save. So once we have that, we need to dismiss again, because we're going back over to Teams controller in a completion block. So dismiss is animated equal to true, and then we just need to see self.delegate.edit team. I haven't actually created that yet, but we'll go and do that in a second. That's just going to be adding a function into our protocol section. So let's head up and add that now. So up in our protocol, we just need a way of editing teams as well. So we just need an extra function, edit team, exactly the same teams of type teams. So we're going to get a little bit of complaining, but hopefully that should come to life if we build. So self.delegate.add team. Yeah, it should be edit team and then teams. And then over in Teams controller, we need to add that extra stub as well. So because we've said we're going to implement two functions, we now have to do that. So it's a little bit of logic. So it's just, we need a way of reloading the rows on the table view. So what we need to do is say table view dot reload. So we're just reloading the rows at a specific index path, which we haven't actually got yet, so we need to create that. And you can use any animation at the end there. I'm using dot middle. So let's create a reload path, so we can grab the row that we're actually reloading. So we can say let reload path is equal to index path at a specific row. And again, we haven't actually got the row yet, so we need to create that. Let row equal to teams, and then this is going to be the team that we're editing. So it's going to be teams.indexOf, and it's going to be the team that's coming from the function above. And then we can use that row. We need to unwrap it. And then we should have access to our reload path. So let's just build all that. Probably get a few errors, complaining. Doesn't like the name. Index of teams. Maybe it's because those are the same. Just jump back over. I'm just going to edit this to say team instead. And we're going to change that to team instead of teams. And index of team, just build that. And obviously we need to change that in our edit function as well. Let's build. So here I think it's complaining because I'm trying to use teams, but that should actually be, I believe, core data teams. So I'm going to change that. And now it's happy. So yeah, there's a little bit of logic there, but if you just read it in a line by line basis, it's actually not too bad. So let's just build that, and we should now be able to see an edit function, which we can click into, and then we can edit that. We can click save, and we can see our changes persisting. And then if we can add a new team, that is also working, and we can just test that as well by editing and save, and that is now working. So quite a bit of logic, but we got there. Well done. So that's going to wrap up this video, guys. We've got through quite a lot here. The edit function wasn't as straightforward as it should have been, but we can now edit teams as well. What we're going to do in the next video, now add a date created into core data, and we're going to be able to save that as well. So we're going to add that logic in the next video. As usual, you can hit me up on Instagram and Twitter in the comments section as well. Like and subscribe, so I can keep making these videos for you. And yeah, until the next video, I'll see you then.